Jose, how can we help you today, or how could you help us?
Um, I guess I got an inspection. I'm representing the seller. I just got the 35R. They're requesting quite a few things. So, what's a good dialogue as far as reaching out to your seller? Saying, hey, you know, because we were probably 1 day, 2 days in the market, and we already got an offer, and I had more interest, so I still had two other showings that still saw it while it was pending. I negotiated $5,000 more, um, but now they're requesting that the furnace to be cleaned and you know um, serviced,
Go.
and then also the supposedly I think they found out some rat um, pest
Okay.
belongings there and stuff. So
Okay.
and then asking for 3% towards closing costs.
Ooh,
So
No, that's the killer.
yeah,
that's the deal breaker.
it's only $155,000 sale, so that's looking around 4,500 bucks or so. Because they said they found
Regardless,
other
3%
things.
is 3%.
Yeah, I know.
That's my kind of buyer's agent. So there's two ways to come and kick you in the nuts. Either right up front with the listing, with the in my original offer, to lowball you or ask for my closing costs, or if I'm trying to ramrod it through, I'll give you everything you want up front, and then I'll kick you in the nuts on the inspection. My kind of buyer's agent.
But I got leverage. I got other people that saw the house. So
Yeah, but you've got items on the inspection report that you know about.
yeah. So
Do
I
you
kind of
have
called
to
my shit.
disclose what you find on the inspection report?
Well,
Constructive knowledge.
you now know.
Constructive.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get nailed with the same items uh,
Yeah.
on the next inspection, right?
Unless I get somebody to waive their inspection.
Well, when you're as early as you were, a day on the market, you had multiple people interested. That's what you're trying to negotiate right there. You're trying to get them to waive the inspection.
Right. Yeah. And it was the first offer that came through, and I had more interest coming in. So it's like,
Okay, so let,
yeah,
let, let me let me let me insert here. So you got the offer $5,000 above list price, right?
yeah,
Okay, so the seller would be satisfied with that full price property, or with a full price offer, okay?
hmm,
He'd be satisfied because he listed it in order to say I'd be okay with that full price offer.
right.
All right, you did a great job and you got it $5,000 over. So what essentially the seller is now back at is their full price, which is a
Slightly
little
over.
bit, yeah,
Yeah.
just a little bit over their full price. So they're still making out okay.
Mm-hmm.
On the other end, and that buyer's agent knows that, which is great. A little excessive. Um, Doing the furnace, you should have the furnace serviced. That's not a big deal. That's a buck 50, $150 to get that done. And then the rats, shit, you should have that fixed anyways.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, if there is a pest infestation, you want to get that handled. That's not going to go away. So
Mm-hmm.
those two things that they're asking for are not out of the box. That's
Yeah.
reasonable. That's
Mm-hmm.
sensible. Um, what I think is a stretch, when I understand their strategy, is coming back to whittle down the price that they went over with.
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, evaluate what's available in the marketplace and say, okay, if this deal goes away, Mr. Buyer Agent, these are your options in the marketplace today. This is what you're going to be shopping for if this deal goes away. Is your buyer willing to lose this transaction for 3% to go shopping and look at this other product? Because there ain't another product like what we have at this price. So, sure, um, go shopping again. We will. I'm very confident that we'll be able to satisfy and get a better offer if this goes away. I'm not sure if you are going to be able to satisfy and get a better property if you go away. So what are we going to do about these? What are we going to do about these closing costs?
When you said the
May
purchase
I just
price
jump
is,
in?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Celine.
Oh, I'll resolve the pest, I'll resolve the
Yep.
furnace, and I'll do half of what you presented.
Yes, and test the waters with that other real estate broker and see if they go shopping this weekend, what their product is, what the shelf is like. If this deal goes away, trust me, there are more buyers in the marketplace than there is product available for you to select from. I'm not trying to squeeze you, but I'm just trying to be realistic that your buyers are looking at these other products, and there's this one, this one, this one, and this one. There are more buyers in the market in the store than there is product on the shelf. We want to make this happen. We want to work with you. And what do you think is the best way? Are these closing costs a smoke screen to try to get us back down a little bit, or are they really serious about getting this? Because we'll do this extra work. That's not an issue. These closing costs are.
So do you do this prior to?
Yeah, I'm having that conversation with them like at 9:33.
So you're doing it before you talk to the seller.
So you do
Oh
this
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Same.
I want to
I do it
I
all.
want to
I'll verbal.
I want to figure out their position. I want to have a better feeling and understanding about what that buyer's position is before I go back to the seller.
Yeah.
Because then I can go back to the seller and it's like, this is where I think we should do.
Right.
This is where I think they're at. And then what if they don't yield? What if they don't yield on anything? You're still coming out with $1,200 to $1,500 above what your originally list price for. And this may happen again. We are in a strong position. However, at the same time, we don't know really the determination of the number of buyers in the marketplace this weekend. We're still looking. We still look pretty on the shelf. But here's the other part to this. If this thing goes away, then we're going to need to obviously disclose what we know, particularly the rat or the pest infestation. The cleaning of the furnace, that's not a disclosure part, unless it's identified that it doesn't work. And it works. It just needs to be cleaned and serviced. No big deal. We will need to update and amend the disclosure statement, and then I'm going to have to identify when other brokers say what happened to the deal because it was pending inspection, goes right back on as active. That sometimes triggers an alarm to buyer's agents to say there's something that came up in that inspection, and then I'm going to have that dialogue with the information that I know.
Right.
So that's where you're at in this position, and I will explain that position to the seller. So now I have a full understanding of all the positions when I go and approach my seller. And then what is your best decision? And they're like, well, I don't know. I go, would you like my opinion? I always ask the seller, what do you believe would be your next best step? And they're like, well, maybe I'll do this or I'll do that, or maybe they'll say, I don't know. Then I'll say, would you like to hear my opinion and my suggestion? And my opinion and my suggestion is going to be based upon the conversation I had prior
with the listing agent. Sorry, the buyer agent.
That's my approach.
Okay. So you like to have
agree with Todd. That would be my approach as well.
So you like to have direction, because everybody likes, or every seller or every client likes to have a next step, right? A next, what do we do, right? Type thing. And then they're always gonna ask, what do you recommend me to do? So
I've already spoken with the buyer's agent, and this is what I feel we can do. Don't speak with certainty, because if it doesn't happen, then you have egg on your face.
And then there too.
Been there, done that.
Not fun.
Not fun.
yeah.
Depending on the actual.
Positional negotiation. Employ the positional negotiation. Now understand also when you're doing this is what type of negotiator is the buyer's agent? What's their negotiation style? Are they the same negotiator you had in the beginning when we were talking about price, closing date and all that other stuff? And are they changing their style, or are they the same negotiating style that they're using now?
No.
Watch for the similarity, and also watch for the difference.
Cool. Can I role play with you? Thought?
No, with Jim.
Jim? Okay.
Jim's more of a hard ass sometimes at this hour in the day.
Okay.
Yeah, he's spicy.
Yeah, you're
I
spicy.
know.
All right. Sounds good. Hey, Jim, how's it going?
Am I the buyer's agent?
Yeah, you're the buyer's agent.
Oh. Hey, what's going on there, Jose? I assume you got my 35R.
Yes, I did. And thank you for sending that. So, yeah, I just wanted to know a little bit about what you sent here. So, the sellers obviously have not had this furnace service and clean, which is not a problem. The rat feces and the other things, the duct work, we're sure we can take care of that as well. The only thing I think is going to be a little bit of an issue is the 3% closing cost. Is that a necessity from your buyers, or is that just more trying to reduce the price?
No, it was basically there was a whole host of items on that inspection report, and I really tried to talk my buyers off the ledge of backing out, and so it was really we had a good conversation about what's really important to them and how we can put a dollar figure on this versus coming at you with 5 pages of inspection items. And so in order to roll it all up, the wife, she was really stuck on the rodents, and I always use the word rodents. I never use the word rats. People hate the word rat. She was stuck on the rodent, and or sometimes they use critters. And the furnace thing, the husband was kind of like, yeah, it's an easy one. Let's just get it maintained and up to snuff. And so really, like I said, it's a matter of them accepting the property as is for the 3%. That's kind of what they felt comfortable with.
Okay. I completely understand coming from your buyer's side. However, Jen, we were in the market only 2 days. I did have 2 other showings while we were pending inspection, and they told me if anything falls through to let them know right away. I'll pitch this to my seller, but I believe we're going to need to work on this on the closing costs. So I'll see what we can do. There's no other property in the market like this one here in this park. So I'm assuming we should get some good activity if we were to
Well,
do that.
I hear what you're saying, and normally I would agree with you, but I've got a 20-page inspection report that I would be more than happy to send over to enlighten your sellers. I'm not sure if you want it, but my buyers have given me permission to forward it to you. Did you want me to send over the heavy-duty items to kind of enlighten your buyers or your sellers of what they got to deal with?
Pause right there. Okay? If he sends it, that immediately nullifies the inspection agreement.
Yeah, I thought that waived the inspection.
Yeah.
Say that again?
It does.
Yeah.
So go for it, send it.
Yeah, go ahead and send it.
So I send a 35R with the items that I want fixed, and if I send the full report for education purposes, it nullifies the 35R.
It's in the inspection. It's in the 35.
Yeah.
That's retarded. All right. So
You're only allowed to send the parts that you're asking for.
If the seller asks for it. If the seller asks for it.
So
Only those sections.
So that's what I asked. I asked him if he would like me to send it.
If it's not in the agreement.
What's that?
Go ahead, Celine.
just gonna say exactly what you said.
So I would require Jose to make a formal, send me an email requesting heavy duty items or whatever of the inspection report, and then if I send those isolated items, that does not ruin my 35R.
Don't they have to send something called a 35C, asking for what it is, asking for exactly what they want on the inspection? I think there are like 3 other options. And unless, if you send over the entire inspection without them asking for the entire inspection, it will waive the contingency.
Yeah.
You can only send over the parts that pertain to what is being asked of. So the rodent, show the rodent, and then I think, like, say attic insulation, you show the pictures of that and that's point.
Gotcha. That I do. I send the pictures out of it. But yeah, I never send the full report. But I would be happy to send over the heavy duty items to kind of give you an idea.
Yeah, but you can only send it if the seller sends it.
Yes.
And that is acknowledged in the original contingency on Form 35. There's 2 boxes at the bottom of the page, and if it is not marked, it doesn't allow the buyer's agent to send any reports over about their requests. If it is checked, it does allow the buyer's agent to send those over, and the buyer is not allowed to complete that. The seller will check one of those boxes.
Oh.
Please review Form 35. I think it's paragraph 2. It's toward the bottom of page 1.
Good to know.
I only know this because I'm just dealing with this right now.
Good topic.
As a buyer or as a seller?
As the buyer.
Okay.
I've had buyer's agents send stuff over. I've had buyers send stuff over, and I said, guess what? You just waived your home inspection.
So here on the 35, seller requests, oh, stay where you are. Seller requests the buyer to provide the inspection report to seller. If buyer requests repairs, modifications to the agreement, seller requests the buyer to provide only the portions of the inspection report related to the requests. If buyer provides notice of additional inspections pursuant, seller requests that buyer provide a copy of the inspector's. Okay, that's all normal. The selection, stop, you're good, of any checkbox below does not counteroffer. Good, okay. Or you can just leave that blank. So there is no default if it's left blank?
Yeah, you don't want to send anything if it's left blank.
Okay.
You don't know, I'm sorry. You send the 35R.
Yeah.
Just with the requests.
Okay.
Not with any of the home inspection.
No photos. Okay.
That's right. Nothing.
Good to know.
I've always done, maybe this is not good to admit, but in the past, I've always just done verbal. Okay, well, send me the pictures. Or like, I'm the buyer's agent and they ask me to send the pictures, and I've just sent them pictures without them doing the 35C. Is that okay?
No. That's a failure of your fiduciary responsibilities of knowledge, skill, and care.
Okay.
If it were to adversely affect the principal you're representing.
Okay, duly noted.
So then in this case, I would go back to Jose and ask them that I've got some heavy duty items on this inspection report. And if you and your seller want to make a formal request for these pricey items, I'd be more than happy to share those items.
Well, first let me talk to my sellers, Jim, to see what they want to do. But I feel like they're they're gonna question on that 3%. So I'll
Yeah.
circle back with you and see what they say.
Okay.
Maybe it's a,
No, I totally hear you. I had that conversation with my buyers, and I do want you to understand that you go back to the drawing board, go back to the market, you're going to have to deal with the exact same items on the inspection report. Sometimes, like they say, the bird in the hand's better than one in the bush, right? Or two in the bush. So feel free to go back to your seller, and I'd love the opportunity to work together and get this closed. And I'll just go in a holding pattern and hear back from you guys.
sounds good.
I always try to push my whatever my position is. I try to push my position as much as I can.
Yeah.
Now, if I knew the inspection report didn't have all that much, and I was asking for the 3% on the closing costs, I tried to ramrod my offer through, and now I'm circling back to try and get my closing cost assistance. Then I may be a little more flexible and say to the listing agent, yeah, hey, Jose, I appreciate the call on that. Yeah, my buyers are going to need the 3.5 towards the closing costs. I will say that there may be opportunity to go back and forth a little bit on that, but we do need some closing cost assistance. So if you can take care of the two inspection items and fire back on something that you guys feel comfortable with on the seller concessions, I think we can put something together here, and I'd love to hear what you guys come back at us with.
This was so good, you guys. Thank you so much.
Good.
Okay, if closing costs were so important, why didn't you ask for them in the initial offer?
Because I wanted my offer signed around, because it was only 1 or 2 days on the market. I wanted to stand out.
I mean, I want to work together with you. I don't want to necessarily
Oh.
put this house back on the market, and I'm sure that you don't
I'm
necessarily
sorry.
want to go shopping again.
No, I didn't realize I'm doing a role play. Let me switch up.
Oh, that's okay.
I-
I got it. This is good shit. I love this.
This
kind
was
of stuff.
so good. Thank you
So
much.
my
Drooling all over myself.
my counter, because you're right, that would be my counter, is why didn't you ask for these up front? And then I would come back and say, well, this came up, the parents were going to contribute to the down payment and help them out, and now they're kind of pedaling backwards a little bit, and so we just need to kind of bridge this. And so I'm asking for the 3.5, and that'll make it a done deal.
I would say, do you smell that? You smell that? It's not burned. It's not burned microwave popcorn. I smell bullshit. Come on, dude. That's what I would say there.
Oh,
You guys are cracking me up. This is amazing.
That's why I stay in real estate, because I love the game. I love the negotiating part.
More of these? Yes, me too. It's so great. And I feel like we're always focused on like lead generation, but we don't really talk about like negotiating strategies as much. I'd love to do that. Like kind of what we're doing today. This is awesome.
This is for you guys as much as it is for us. This is, I mean, you control you control the dialogue. And so,
Yeah, you always ask. I never think to ask that. So thank you for bringing it up, Jose.
yeah.
yeah.
All right. I got to roll.
All right. You guys have a great day.
Have a great